You're going to meet one of the many Democratic candidates on the ballot that wants to be the next mayor. That gentleman on your screen, Isaac Wright Jr., is running. He's going to join us to talk about his campaign in just a minute. Stay with us. Welcome back to Inside City Hall. There are 13 Democratic candidates on the ballot for mayor. That includes my next guest, an attorney who's running on a platform of home ownership for all New Yorkers and criminal justice reform. Candidate for mayor Isaac Wright Jr. joins us to talk about his campaign. Welcome. Very nice to meet you.
Thank you very much. Thank you for having me.
You've told the story a million times, I know, but you had an encounter with the justice system where you were convicted on drug charges that would have put you behind bars for life. They made an ABC drama about it called For Life, based on that conviction and subsequent overturning of it. How did you go from there to deciding you wanted to be, at least this season, a politician?
Well, it was definitely a long road, but since that happened to me, I've dedicated my entire life to humanitarian efforts, to fighting for people, who cannot fight for themselves. And, being New York City's next mayor it was just a natural progression for me, based on my fight for others for the past 30 years.
If you get your wish, you'll be sworn in on January 1st. You'll be in charge of the whole NYPD, 35,000 cops. How would you then deal with the current spike in shootings and murders that we've been seeing?
Well, one of the things that's important about violence in the communities is how we look at law enforcement versus how the community looks at itself. Law enforcement is just what they are; they enforce the law. But when it comes down to crime prevention, I believe crime prevention, is a responsibility of the community. And there's a number of grassroots organizations that exist today in New York City, all over the city, that is set up to prevent crime, to identify it when it happens, when it starts in the community, and prevent it before it happens. And I think a part of criminal justice reform is to divert some of that money from law enforcement to these grassroots organizations whose responsibility is to prevent crime before it happens.
And Mr. Wright, tell me about home ownership. I am a homeowner. It is a very different experience than what I think most New Yorkers go through. Why do you like it, and what would you do to help more people get into that position?
Well, one of the things that has to change is New York City Housing Authority, NYCHA. NYCHA houses or resides over 500,000 residents. That's from a population standpoint, that's bigger than the city of Atlanta, Oakland, California, Miami, Florida. And, it's a tragedy to drive into any of those cities where nobody owns their own homes. NYCHA needs to be converted from a serial landlord, which it is today, into a conduit for home ownership, so that everybody that lives in these complexes would have an option to purchase their own homes, to be able to leverage that for a better life, to send their kids to college, or to start a business. And, we know in this country that home ownership is the foundation of wealth. And I think for generations, these particular individuals have been targeted or have been weeded out of that American dream. And New York City, the next New York City's mayor has a responsibility to change that. That's something I want.
Okay. Tell me about education. You are one of the few candidates who has spoken up pretty clearly about the need to end the school desegregation that has poisoned our system.
Yes. One of the issues, the foundation of segregation in our schools is rooted in finance. It's rooted in budgetary concerns. It's rooted in a disparity between what a school gets in Bay Ridge and what schools gets in East New York. The school system funding is based on property values. Obviously, the property values in Bay Ridge is a lot higher than the property values in East New York. And because of that disparity occurs, and because of the disparity, you have these issues with segregation. As New York City's next mayor, I think what needs to happen and what I would do is to equalize. It wouldn't be the funding of schools wouldn't be based on property values. If Bay Ridge gets $1 million a year, the schools in East New York should get $1 million a year. And when you equalize that across the board, then you equalize the quality of education, you equalize the quality of after-school extracurricular activities, and you increase the need and the desire for these kids to go to school and lower the delinquency rate. And so that's what I intend to do. I think the equalization of funding is the core problem with desegregation.
I mentioned that you are a practicing attorney, Mr. Wright. What kind of law do you practice?
I'm a general practitioner. I practice criminal law. I specialize actually in criminal law, obviously because of my background, but I also do civil law, I do SEC stuff, I do regulation, transactional work. I'm across the board.
Okay, and now how do you like being a politician so far?
when they say power corrupts, absolutely. Well, money corrupts even more than power. And I think the issue of money in politics is something that that I got to continue to shrug off my shoulders, because it sends a bite in terms of corruption that I don't really like that much. But other than that, it's been a challenge, and it's been an exciting challenge running for New York City mayor, and I'm looking forward to be this city's next mayor.
Normally, this is the point where I ask about who's backing you. I see that you have endorsements by 50 Cent and by Fat Joe, the rapper.
Yes. They came in. I mean, these are very, very incredible individuals, very honorable individuals. They came down here with me, and from day one, they've stayed with me. And I don't look at endorsements as that important. I look at friendship and camaraderie is more important. These two guys are part of that friendship and a part of that camaraderie. They've been with me. They've been supporting me from day one. And I really appreciate their help.
I know a number of people who have been exonerated, who have been falsely imprisoned the way that you were, as akin to coming back from the dead. You've made the most of this second chance at life that you've gotten, and I appreciate you coming by to tell us about it. We'll wish you the best of luck.
Thank you so much. I appreciate you having me. Okay. You take care.
All right, now. That's going to do it for tonight's show. Thanks so much for watching.